This is a special Great Basin Fire Potential briefing for this Sunday, October 11th. This is a look at our fire potential impacts. We're looking at warm, dry conditions through midweek as high pressure builds in with that warmer, drier weather. The good news is that winds, which were quite a bit breezy up across Idaho this weekend, should become much lighter and more slope driven, probably 10 miles per hour or less. As for the possibility of any wet weather, by midweek, southern areas of Nevada and Utah could see some showers coming up from the south, but we'll have to wait until next weekend for a front brushing our northern areas to see those showers move into parts of Idaho. A look at rainfall over the past 7 days shows that although we had quite abundant rainfall across our southern areas, parts of the northwest Nevada and into parts of Idaho had either no rain or barely a tenth of an inch or less given by that first shade of blue. So those are the areas that have dried out quite a bit, especially dry in some of the finer, grassier fuels that we've had with this mild weather so far. Taking a look at our fuel, starting with the 10-hour fuel moistures, we focus our attention up in northern Nevada and up into parts of southwest Idaho. The area in red are 10-hour fuel moistures of 3 to 4%, which that's sufficiently dry to carry fire when there's some wind available for sure, and a much larger area in that pinkish shade that is still 5 or 6%. So some of the warmth and dryness that we've had is definitely having an effect on our finer fuels. Looking at our ERC percentiles, a lot of stations not reporting this time of year, but you can see our concern as we get up into the mountains of southern and central Idaho. Our ERC starting to get up between the 50th to 70th percentile. And up in the mountains of central Idaho, you can see our ERC line, current observations in green, well above normal in the gray shade and approaching record levels in the red. Although for this time of year, if we trace it back, we're looking at either mid-September normals or basically July 1st normals. So not as critically dry as we would see midsummer, but definitely a significant increase in ERC over the last few days. We'll look at the current upper level map along with the water vapor satellite imagery. We can see this tightness over here and this band of enhanced white. This was the cold front which swept across our northern areas and increased the winds across Idaho, sparking some increasing large fire activity. However, this front is now pushing well off to the east. And we notice this little bit of ridging through here. This is high pressure that is just starting to get going. It will magnify through the next few days with much more warmth and dryness. Further to the south, off the Baja region, you can see that fairly stationary low pressure system pumping up tons of subtropical moisture associated with the El Nino currently in effect. This low is going to track a bit to the north and east, and we'll start to brush our southern areas with clouds, higher humidity, and showers by the middle of this upcoming week. Now here's today's upper level map. There is that cold front through here, that tightness, and some drier air behind it, and that ridge of high pressure poking on in, and that low pressure system along with the moisture starting to get dragged up from the south. Now here's the map for Monday afternoon. There's that low pressure area pumping up moisture now getting up into parts of southern Arizona. We do start seeing a broad ridge of high pressure gradually taking shape across parts of the west. And by late Tuesday, that high pressure ridge builds further northward. You see this dry air mass start to expand here, these tannish colors. And you see the height lines, the more wider spaces between them, the upper level winds gradually lightening up through here, low pressure remaining off the southern California coast. And by midweek on Wednesday, that high pressure area continues to expand and cover much of the western third of the country. Weak low pressure affecting the immediate California coastal areas. And by Thursday, that high pressure ridge still keeping our northern areas up near Idaho dry, but that low pressure that was off the California coast as it weakens starts moving inland, and so moisture in this green area starts affecting much of Nevada with clouds and showers, also in far northern Arizona about to move into southern Utah. And by Friday, even though we are in a broad area of high pressure where Idaho still remains fairly dry, although not quite as dry as before, there is that remnant moisture now covering still a good chunk of Nevada and about 2/3 of Utah with clouds and scattered showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms. The rainfall line getting as far north as about Salt Lake City. And by next Saturday, that ridge of high pressure starts giving way to a deepening trough of low pressure approaching the Pacific Northwest. Clouds and showers across Washington and Oregon will gradually be pushing to the east. We'll have increasing winds from the southwest across Idaho in advance of this weather system, and still quite a bit of moisture across Utah with showers and thunderstorms, especially across the eastern half of the region, so no problems expected there. Here's the expected rainfall over the next 7 days. You notice still a fairly big bullseye of dryness across a good portion of Idaho into Nevada. It will probably be just towards the end of this period, maybe by next Sunday, that we could see some showers that will be moving to the Pacific Northwest, affect parts of Idaho. Otherwise, they stay dry. Our southern areas, light to locally moderate shower activity. The second shade of green is about 1/10 of an inch, so maybe a few hundredths to less than a 1/4 inch of rain for the southern half to southern 2/3 of Nevada and Utah. Here are wind speeds expected for Monday afternoon, and you can see with those lighter purple shades, fairly light winds in most areas, 4, 5 miles per hour, 6 miles per hour across most of Nevada and Utah. Up in Idaho, a few places in the higher terrain getting up towards 9 to 11 or 12 miles per hour, otherwise 6 to 8 miles per hour through there. Gustiest winds will be up across the mountains of far western Wyoming and the Tetons, where sustained winds will be probably in that 10 to 15 mile per hour range, probably seeing some gusts in the mid-20s through there. And by Tuesday afternoon, you can see that even lighter wind speeds are expected in most areas, typically 5 or 6 miles per hour at most sustained. And by Wednesday afternoon, even lighter wind speeds as high pressure builds overhead, being hard pressed to see any winds above 5 miles per hour in most areas. Here's a look at our 7-day outlook, and this is a bit of a different view. This offers up all of our forecast zones through here, with the Idaho zones being in the far north. You can see all of them are in that moderately dry yellow category from today right on through the end of next week into the weekend. Further south across parts of Nevada and into Utah, you can see most of our areas further south are primarily in that green moist category. A bit of a dryness though in parts of northwestern Utah through the latter part of the week, as well as parts of the Uinta region. However, with the showers that we talked about moving in towards the middle to latter part of the week, even those areas will get back into that moist category by Friday or next Saturday. Here's a look at our week 2 outlook for the 8 to 14 day period, and on the left you can see a very large amount of warm air expected across a good portion of the country. This is mostly due to more of an El Nino effect, which is keeping some of that colder air in Canada bottled up and preventing it from drifting further south into the United States. A look on the right, however, indicates that we do expect a couple of episodes of moisture, mainly coming out of the southwest as opposed from the northwest. Will be affecting our southern areas mostly, but even getting up into parts of Idaho as we go through our week 2 period. Due to our increased fire activity, we plan on continuing these fire season webcasts through this upcoming week as conditions warrant. Other than that, this concludes our briefing. Have a safe day.